I was really excited to eventually have the opportunity to sing Idomeneo. And it's a role that for many years, teachers, critics, intendants, directors and conductors have all said, oh, one day you will sing this and you'll do it beautifully. And in your head, you're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to do it. And then you get the opportunity and you think, oh man, now there's all this pressure because all these people told me that I should do this, so I really hope I do a nice job with it. It's a dream role for me. It's something I've always wanted to do. And it's such a powerful piece on its own. I actually used to be a baritone, and I sang the bass chorus solo in the Act 1 solo in 2000 in Toronto. So it's very nice to come back to this opera again. To play a man who cares very deeply for his sons, that's something that I'm able to do easily because I have two wonderful children, two boys ages 13 and 11, and I miss them a lot. And I think obviously something as drastic as sacrificing your son, that's terrible and gut-wrenching, and it's very, very difficult for any of us to say, oh, well, I've had that experience before. But we do as parents often have to do things that are counterintuitive. And so every time I say goodbye to them, every time I leave Chicago and I come for a job, no matter how excited I am, it's this same struggle. It's the same thing. How can I do something that I know is hurting them so much? Obviously, again, it's not parallel, but there are similarities enough so that, or anytime you have to show tough love with your children and you have to set a boundary or set a rule. In this case, of course, it's a pretty difficult boundary because I'm supposed to kill him, so it's rough. I think when it comes to playing a role like Idomeneo, what I've learned is there has to be a trajectory, there has to be an arc. And the character is introduced pretty late, if you will, in Act 1. And we've met everyone else but him. And I had to remind myself that he starts with feeling crazy and feeling tormented, and then finds out conceivably the worst possible news. So how do you play that? How do you play getting that news and then having some sort of a journey, some sort of an arc, some sort of a change or growth? That has been really challenging because there's always moments of intensity for him that he can access. But I think, especially with our director Jecke's concept, it's very important that, in a way, he's returning to his former self. Still changed, but he's able to access a certain kind of calm and nobility. And I think he's after that the whole time, just to find some sort of stable ground, some sort of a safe harbor, if you will, instead of the unending tumult that you get from the sea, which is all he's known now for so many years. I know I'm singing Idomeneo, but I'm always in awe of the character Elettra. I just find her to be, in some ways, larger than life, but in other ways it makes so much sense why she feels all of this pain, why in her music it's almost like someone going mad, both in Act 1 and then even more so in Act 3. And so I wonder, I would have liked to have, well, who wouldn't, but I would have liked to have known Mozart, so I could have said, like, where did this come from? Like, where for you? What was the inspiration for that intensity? How does someone who's lived so little life, I think, was he 24 or 25? I think so, when he wrote this. How can you say that? How can you know that? How can you access that and then create with that sort of deep emotional language. It's incredibly impressive. I've learned so much from Mozart's music. I feel like listening to Mozart allows you to see the world in color. It paints life in a more vibrant way than your life would be without it. I've always felt that way. I think the first thing I remember hearing of Mozart when I was very, very, very young was the quintet in Act 1 of Magic Flute. When the three boys come in and then the three ladies say that the three boys will guide you. I still now, it's perfect. Mozart is perfect because he takes something simple and he makes us feel like we have heard this from the day we were born. It's like it's innate in us. It's like we are hardwired to love this music. And part of that, I think, is because he just has sort of set the groundwork from a tonal sense for what all music is today. Obviously, others have done that too, Bach and Beethoven very much so, and others. But for me, it's just, there's something about Mozart that just feels like home. It's every time it's a challenge, a huge challenge, and you know you're being compared to every other Mozart singer that has ever sung anywhere. But at the same time, it's a wonderful opportunity, and I really relish it.